What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch review for you. Today I'm partnering up with KBShimmer to show you their new Sugar Rush collection for summer 2023. Before we get into that, if you haven't heard of KBShimmer before, they are an independent nail polish brand that is based in the US, and all of their polishes are fave free, meaning they are free of 5 of the potentially harmful ingredients that can be found in nail polish. They are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So they just came out with 9 brand new nail polishes. They're all inspired by sugary treats, and we've got a whole rainbow of colors and finishes here, including 2 reflective polishes. And personally, I'm very excited about this. KBShimmer is one of my top all-time indie brands. They really make a good quality polish, and I feel like out of all of the brands I own, I feel like they're the easiest to use. So they're very beginner friendly. So yeah, I'm really excited to show them to you. Let me do the swatches first, then we can talk a little bit more about pricing, availability, my thoughts on the collection. So yeah, let's just go ahead and roll the swatch footage. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the KBShimmer Feeling Groovy base coat. So we'll go in sort of a rainbow order here. This first shade is called Feeling Good, and this is a gorgeous pink full coverage glitter that actually has the reflective glitters in it. And you can see, honestly, even just in regular light, this has so much more sparkle than your average nail polish just because of those reflective glitters, and they stand out so much. But what I really love about this polish is this shade of pink. It almost has a little bit of like this orangey tone to it where it feels a little bit richer and deeper than your average pink. So I definitely loved that, and I was really impressed with the opacity. I thought that this type of glitter was definitely going to need 3 coats, but I got perfect opacity in 2, and it just looks so sparkly and gorgeous on. Now I am going to show you this and the other reflective underneath my flashlight on my phone just so you can see how sparkly and reflective it is. But honestly, with these type of flash reactive polishes, I just like the way they look in natural light because they just have this almost like cartoonish sparkle to them. Next up we have the shade You Want a Peach of Me, and this one is the finish that in my head is what I think of when I think of KBShimmer. It's just a really gorgeous duochrome shimmer that has these silver hollow flecks in it that just look different from any other brand. I like to call them little like diamond chips because I think that's what they look like, and this shade is such a gorgeous one. It almost has a little bit of like a peachy nude vibe to it, and I felt like it suited my skin tone so perfectly. It almost felt kind of like a nude shade on me, but it definitely has that distinct pink coloring. And then we have a gorgeous duochrome in here that shifts from an orangey copper into yellow, so it definitely has peachy vibes. It gave me really nice coverage in 2 coats. I feel like it actually looks like it's less opaque just because it matches my skin tone so well, but it did give me full coverage, and of course those little hollow chips just add so much depth to it. Next we have the shade Any Way You Slice It, which is a super vibrant orange jelly base that has this really intense shimmer running throughout. Again, it's sort of this duochrome look where it shifts from this coppery pink into yellow, but then we also have some slightly larger flecks in there that doesn't look terribly different from the regular shimmer, but it does catch the light a little bit differently, so it gives a little bit more of a multifaceted look. And oh my gosh, I love this shade. I feel like these types of colors don't suit my skin tone very well, but I just can't help but wear them because I think they're so gorgeous. I think this is such a bright and fun shade for summer, but I feel like this is the type of shade that you can also carry on to different seasons. Like this would be such a great pumpkin orangey color for fall and Halloween. I did do 2 coats to preserve that jelly-like look, but it actually did end up covering my visible nail line in just those 2 coats. Moving on, we have the shade Pucker Up, which again is just a super vibrant color and almost neon, and this time we've got a highlighter yellow base, so it has almost a greenish undertone to it, and then we have this gorgeous coppery shimmer running throughout, as well as a subtle silver hollow sparkle. And oh my gosh, another shade that I absolutely love. I started off with 2 coats and I really loved the way that looked. You still get a very, very subtle amount of visible nail line, and it gives that sort of jelly-like look, which is something that I love in shades like these. But I did end up trying it in 3 coats just to show you what it looked like as a more full coverage polish, and I think it also looks gorgeous that way. So it's really a matter of how you feel when you're applying it, if you want a jelly-like kind of look or if you want to get that full vibrant coverage. And then we have the other flash reactive shimmer polish. This one is called Pull It Together, and this one's a little bit different. It's a green reflective polish, but this one appears to be in a clear base, so we don't have any sort of jelly color in there. And I figured this was going to end up being a 3-coater on me, but this glitter is so full coverage that it actually gave me full opacity in 2 coats. And this is such a stunning shade. We get this soft, almost minty kind of green, and then that really vibrant, almost cartoonish reflective shine in there. I feel like lately I've just been so into flash reactive polishes just on their own without a phone camera or flash or anything like that. But I do think it's a fun little surprise when you do get the flash on your nails and you can see that vibrance. So another quick note about flash reactive polishes, they tend to dry a little bit more textured. So usually I recommend doing 2 coats of top coat. Next we have the shade Cool Beans, which is actually the shade I was the most excited for when I saw this collection, because this is the exact type of color that just speaks to me. We've got this deeper blue jelly base, and then within that base we have a really intense shimmer that head on looks like a golden yellow color, and then as it sort of fades into this jelly background, you can see it fade into green and then even into blue at more extreme angles. And oh my gosh, what a stunning color. I feel like this is just the perfect mix of green vibes in a blue polish, so it makes it just a little bit easier for people who don't necessarily love the green polish but want to get into it. And I don't know, I think it's very mermaidy and fun and gorgeous, and I love the way that it looks in 2 coats. It still gave me that jelly-like feel, but it did cover up my visible nail line. Next up we have another classic KBShimmer formula. This one is called Put a Ring on It, and this one is a deep but very saturated teal color, and we have this gorgeous matching teal shimmer in there that around the edges gets to be a little bit deeper of a blue, and then at extreme angles it actually looks a little bit purpley, which is very elusive on camera, but you do get a little hint of it in person. I think it's so gorgeous. And then again we get those gorgeous little diamond hollow flecks that just add so much intensity to the color and make it so vibrant and bold, and I just love this shade. I love this type of formula, and I love how opaque they are. Moving on, we have the shade That's Just Grape, and this one is a really interesting one. It actually feels like the purple version of Cool Beans. Again, we have this blue jelly base, and then within that base we have an intense shimmer that head on actually looks like a deep blue, but around the edges it fades into this gorgeous purple color, and then the further you go at like these more extreme angles, the more of a fuchsia purple it becomes. So I started off with 2 coats. I do think that I need a little bit more coverage for this one, so I ended up going in with 3, and I think this type of shade is so stunning, and I feel like this is a very classic blue that you can really wear any time of year, and I think that purple in there just makes it a little bit elevated and more special and pretty different from anything that I have in my collection. So definitely love this one as well. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Such a Smartie, and this one is an orchid purple linear hollow polish. It has such amazing opacity, and I actually pretty much covered up that visible nail line in the first coat, but I still did need a second for full coverage. But this is just such a smooth and easy formula to work with. I'm not quite sure, but looking at it, it seems like there's just this extra little duochromy shimmer in there that shifts from gold into green, which I think adds so much visual interest. It might be the holo, but it looks like it's in addition to the holo. It really feels like just a classic spring to summer shade, and I feel like this type of color you could really wear any time of year. So here are all of the shades together, and I have to say they make such a perfect rainbow when they're lined up. I feel like you could see it a little bit less because of the way that I formed this little comparison grid, but we really do have every color covered in here, and I think all of the finishes are so gorgeous. I really like that sort of jelly-like feel with a lot of them, but we can also build up to full coverage, which is definitely appreciated. And with a lot of these shades, I feel like you can wear them any time of year, even if you are a seasonal nail polish wearer, because a lot of these work for multiple different seasons. So definitely enjoyed that. But most of all, I just love the formula. I love how easy these are to work with. So those are the polishes, and like I said, I am so into these. I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. KBShimmer is such a beginner-friendly brand. They are truly the easiest brand of nail polish to apply for me. I think it's just the combination combination of a very buttery smooth formula and their wide flat brush that has the rounded tip, because I almost never have to do cleanup, which I find to be very ironic because I do use the KBShimmer cleanup brush as my cleanup brush for manicures, but I never have to use it with KBShimmer. But yeah, this collection is no exception. I just think they were so easy to apply, and this is always just like the brand that I recommend to people who are just getting into independent brands, and this collection is no exception. I think these were so easy to apply, but on the colors, I think they just did an incredible job. KBShimmer just does these incredible combinations where they're almost like deceptively simple, but there's so much going on in each polish that every time you wear it, you're like, wait a second, I never noticed that it had this in it. So I don't know, I just think it's always a fun time. So all of these polishes come in 15 milliliter bottles. Like I said, they do have the wide flat brush that has the rounded tip, so application is so easy, and they retail for $12 USD on the KBShimmer website, so I'll link that down below. But yeah, I highly recommend these. I think they're such incredible quality. I think they're really gorgeous, and if you're on the KBShimmer website, I also recommend getting some of their nail care products. They're clearly on top. Quick Dry Top Coat is one of my favorites of all time, and it's really, really inexpensive. It was actually the first indie brand of top coat I ever used, and I immediately fell in love with it. They are pretty heavily featured on my favorite base and top coats video if you want to check that out. But yeah, before I finish up, I also want to talk to you about the Polish and Beauty Expo. If you haven't heard of it before, it's actually hosted by Christy Rose, who is the owner of KBShimmer, and it's basically just a huge indie nail polish event for makers and also for fans, and it's actually coming up. It's on July 15th and 16th of this year, and it's in Chicagoland, specifically at the Tinley Park Convention Center. So if you're interested, I will put a link down to where you can get tickets. They have shopping with a ton of different brands. They also have different workshops. So there's going to be a stamping workshop. There's also going to be a polish making workshop. So it's a lot of fun. I'll link it down below. Definitely check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on these polishes, on this brand. Are you going to the Polish and Beauty Expo? Leave it all in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please give this one a thumbs up. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. I put out new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon, my royal astronomer Amanda M, as well as my cosmic admirals Rocky Man's daughter, Paula, Ken, Rosie, and Courtney. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Today's fun fact, I want to pose a question to you. I am so curious because Ryan and I talk about this all the time. I want to know what percentage of people are chocolate candy people and what percentage of people are like sugar candy, because I feel like there's such a distinct difference between, like, just I'll give you an example, M&M's versus Skittles. I feel like there's two different types of people. There's the people who like the chocolate bars, the chocolate candies, that sort of thing, and then there's the people who like the Skittles and the peach rings and the sour candies, whatever. And I mean, yes, you can enjoy both, and I do definitely enjoy both, but I feel like on an average day, if I'm given the choice, it's weird because I don't know. Actually, now that I'm posing this question, I'm like, wait, I do equally like both. Because I feel like after a meal, it needs to be chocolate. Like, I need to have something chocolatey. But if it's just a random snack, if I'm at the mall and they have like the sweet store and I'm like, oh, let me grab a couple things, it's going to be like Sour Patch watermelons, you know? So, but I mean, I guess that means that on any given moment, it would be a candy and not a chocolate, which Ryan will be very pleased to hear about because I always claim to be the chocolate person. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I think it's relevant to this nail polish collection. So let me know in the comments, are you a chocolate sweets person or are you a candy sweets person? Leave it in the comments. We can argue about it, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.